So today going to start the day out with a smoothie consisting of blackberry. So this is also 500 grams of dried dates and one frozen banana. One frozen banana. Yeah, let's hit it. So this is gonna be a what I eat in a day, but I'm also going to be talking about something that I've been learning about recently, and that is the fifth dimension. And I'm just gonna use this as a way to get you reeled in with the what I eat, but also impart some knowledge that I have been fascinated about. So if you're here for the food, awesome. If you're here for the wisdom, awesome. So this is the this is the before, and yeah, I like see that. Ooh, I like my big ass smoothies. It's good. It's good. So gonna drink this up and study a bit more because learning about the dimensions can be quite tricky just to get your head around. And I'm a novice. Just starting to grow my knowledge, grow my understanding of all these different concepts. Check out Infinite Waters if you want other more content in relation to fifth dimension and stuff like that. But I'm gonna drink this and share what I know. So let's crack onto it. Fifth dimension explanation as best as I can. I'm going to be expanding my knowledge, so I'm gonna learn as I go and get better at explaining these things. But for now, if we want to understand the fifth dimension, we might as well go to 0 to 4, 0 to 4D. So the 0 dimension is a dot, experiencing life of a dot. No up, no down, no left, no right, no none of that. It's just a dot. So that's 0 dimension. Okay, so 1 dimension is a line. So like that. That's 1 dimension. You've got width. And that is your world. That is your reality. You can just go, left and right. And you go on to 2 dimension. You've got width and you've got length. So like a square, like a flat square with no thickness whatsoever, like a sheet of paper with no thickness whatsoever. That's 2 dimension. And you go on to 3rd dimension. You've got width, you've got length. And now you have depth. So that is like a cube. So cube is in 3rd dimension, and we are living in the 3rd dimensional world. This is how we are experiencing the world in a very 3rd dimensional way. And they say that if you sort of think in a very 3rd dimensional way, you aren't also thinking of the underlying nature of reality, which we will get into now. So the 4th dimension is observing. And an interesting thing about is perceiving living in the 3rd dimensional world. Funny enough, we actually see the world we perceive the world through our eyes. Actually perceive the world 2-dimensionally. And that's called stereoscopic vision. So the only way we can see that something is 3D is because the way light hits that object, and it gives it that perception that it's 3D. But generally speaking, our eyes can't see around things. Even though you're looking at a cube, if I stuck a cube here, you can't really see behind that cube. Yeah, so interesting. I thought that was an interesting side note. But yeah, so what was I? 4D is whenever you perceive 3D objects moving through time. So an example is if you see a plant growing, you are observing that from a 4th dimensional standpoint because you're observing a 3rd dimensional object moving through time. And we also do this whenever you see the development of your knowledge and your wisdom sort of growing through time. That's a 4th dimensional sort of mindset and perspective thrown in there. And fifth dimension is when, okay, instead of I trying to explain it, I want you to experience the fifth dimension. So think of a potato. Think of a potato. Now, I want you to say the word potato without moving your lips, uttering a sound. I want you to say it internally. Do that now. What you will find, if you've done that exercise, is not only can you speak without moving your lips or making a sound, but you can also hear yourself without moving your lips or making a sound. Okay? And if I also said, picture that potato. Close your eyes and picture a potato. You can still see a potato, can't you? You can still see a potato even though no light vibration is hitting your eye. So we can see without our eyes or sight or like light coming in, and we can hear and speak without moving our lips or making a sound at all. Now, when it comes to understanding the fifth dimension, is understanding that we are more than just our bodies. Famous quote is that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. Now, we've just proved, if you've done the exercise, that you can speak, you can hear, and you can see without, the regular sort of senses that we have. So what that is dealing with, what the fifth dimension is dealing with. So say we went to the third dimension example. Third dimension is dealing with up, down, left, right, front, and back. The fifth dimension is dealing with inner and outer, the inner and outer experience. And we will find that our thoughts are a creative force. Thoughts are a creative force whenever we start thinking in a fifth dimensional sort of way. We start to recognize that, the phone that you're watching me on, or the laptop, started off in somebody's mind. And a lot of great music, a lot of artists, it came from within. They heard it within, and they went about creating that external sort of form of music. So when we operate from a fifth dimension of thinking and understanding, we start to recognize that everything is connected. Everything is connected, and everyone is just a different manifestation of the same thing. Say we're spiritual beings having a physical experience. So with that, what it really done for me is just to recognize that, by serving others, essentially you're serving an aspect of yourself. And that's what has interested me a lot about learning about the different dimensions. And I hope you enjoyed that explanation. There's way more to learn in regardless to this. But I thought I would share that with you guys. And moving on to the next segment of this is just what I'm going to have for dinner. I hope you enjoyed that.